What happens when a duchess walks onto a daytime talk show expecting to be treated like royalty, only to discover that the host refuses to bow down? In just 33 seconds, one comment would shatter the entire interview and send shockwaves through the studio. Before we get into this, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because we're pulling back the curtain on royalty's dark side, exposing entitled celebrities and their shocking behavior the cameras never showed you. We've got the raw footage they don't want you to see, and you won't want to miss a single reveal. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think about this outrageous behavior. Now, let's dive into what really happened that day. The studio lights were blazing hot. The audience was packed in tight, all clutching their phones, ready to capture every moment. Jennifer Hudson sat in her signature purple chair, looking absolutely stunning in a bright yellow dress that practically glowed under the stage lights. Her smile was warm and genuine as always. She was known for being one of the kindest hosts in the business, someone who treated every guest with respect and dignity. Then Meghan Markle walked out. The audience erupted into applause, but something felt different. Meghan strutted onto that stage like she owned the entire building. Her posture was stiff, chin lifted high, and her expression was cold. She barely acknowledged the crowd. No wave, no smile, just a quick glance around the room like she was inspecting it. Jennifer stood up to greet her, arms open wide for a hug, but Meghan just extended her hand for a formal handshake instead. The audience noticed. You could feel the energy shift. Jennifer, being the professional she is, smiled through it and shook her hand anyway. "Welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you here," Jennifer said, her voice bubbly and full of genuine warmth. Meghan sat down, crossed her legs, and adjusted her designer dress. She looked around the studio again, her eyes scanning the cameras, the crew, the audience. Then she finally responded, "Thank you for having me. Although I must say, I expected the chairs to be a bit more comfortable. This is a nationally televised show, isn't it?" The smile on Jennifer's face froze, just for a second, but she recovered quickly, letting out a small laugh, trying to brush off the comment. "Well, we try to keep things cozy here. It's all about the conversation, making our guests feel at home," Jennifer replied, still keeping things light. Meghan didn't laugh. She just stared at Jennifer with this blank expression. I suppose that's one way to look at it," Meghan said coldly. The audience sat in uncomfortable silence. A few people shifted in their seats. Jennifer glanced at her producer off stage, but kept her composure. She was determined to make this work. "So, let's talk about your journey. You've been through so much, and I know our audience is really interested in hearing your perspective on everything that's happened over the past few years," Jennifer said, leaning forward with genuine interest. Meghan sighed, loudly, like the question itself was exhausting. "Jennifer, I've done so many interviews, so many podcasts, so many sit-downs with people who claim they want to hear my truth. But what I've learned is that most hosts don't actually care about the truth. They just want sound bites. They want drama. They want me to say something controversial so they can boost their ratings." Jennifer's eyebrows raised slightly. She kept her professional smile, but you could see the wheels turning in her head. "Well, I can promise you that's not what this is about. I genuinely want to hear from you. Your story, your experiences, in your own words. No agenda here," Jennifer said sincerely. Meghan tilted her head, studying Jennifer like she was some kind of specimen under a microscope. "We'll see about that," Meghan replied, her tone dripping with skepticism. The tension in the room was thick now. The audience members exchanged glances. Some were recording on their phones. Others just sat there with their mouths slightly open, shocked at what they were witnessing. Jennifer decided to push forward. She asked about Meghan's recent projects, trying to steer the conversation into safer territory. But Meghan barely answered the questions. Instead, she kept redirecting everything back to how difficult her life was, how misunderstood she felt, how the media constantly attacked her. I mean, can you imagine what it's like to have the entire world watching your every move, judging you, criticizing you? "It's exhausting, Jennifer. Absolutely exhausting," Meghan said, her voice taking on this dramatic, breathy quality. "I can only imagine how challenging that must be," Jennifer responded with empathy. "But you've also had some incredible opportunities and platforms to share your message. How do you balance that?" Meghan's expression hardened. "Balance? You think I need to balance anything? Jennifer, I've sacrificed everything. My career, my privacy, my family. And for what? To be treated like I'm the villain in some twisted fairy tale?" No, I don't need to balance anything. The world needs to balance how they treat me. The audience was dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. Jennifer took a deep breath, maintaining her poise. I hear what you're saying, and I think a lot of people can relate to feeling misunderstood, Jennifer said carefully. But don't you think that part of being in the public eye means accepting that not everyone will agree with you or see things your way? Meghan's eyes narrowed. Is that what you think? That I should just accept being bullied, being torn apart by tabloids, being lied about constantly? You're sitting here in your comfortable little talk show, Jennifer, with your safe little questions, and you have no idea what I've been through. Jennifer's smile finally faded. She sat up straighter, her voice becoming firmer. Actually, Meghan, I do know a thing or two about being in the spotlight and facing criticism. I've had my own challenges in this industry. But what I've learned is that how we respond to those challenges defines us. And right now, I'm just trying to have a respectful conversation with you. Meghan let out a sharp, bitter laugh. Respectful? You call this respectful? You're questioning me. You're challenging me, just like everyone else. You know what? I came on this show as a favor to you. Do you understand that? A favor. Your ratings have been dropping, haven't they? You needed someone big to come on here and save your show. And I agreed to do it, even though I have a million other things I could be doing right now. The audience gasped. Actual gasps echoed through the studio. Jennifer's mouth opened slightly in shock. Her producer stepped closer to the stage, watching carefully. Meghan, I'm not sure where this is coming from, Jennifer said, her voice steady but clearly hurt. I invited you here because I thought we could have a meaningful conversation. I've always been a fan of your work, and I wanted to give you a platform to share your story. But this, what's happening right now, this isn't okay. Meghan stood up abruptly, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. You know what's not okay, Jennifer? Being invited onto a show by someone who clearly doesn't understand what real struggle looks like. You want to talk about challenges? You have no idea what it's like to be me, to carry the weight I carry every single day. And frankly, I don't have time for this amateur hour production. Jennifer stood up too, her face a mixture of hurt and disbelief. Amateur hour? Meghan, this is my show. My name is on this show, and I work incredibly hard to make sure every guest feels welcomed and respected. But respect goes both ways. You've been rude from the moment you walked out here. You insulted my set, you insulted me, and now you're insulting my entire team. The audience began to murmur. Some people were shaking their heads. Others were still recording, capturing every explosive second. Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the chair. I don't need to stand here and be lectured by you. I've sat with Oprah. I've done primetime specials. I've spoken to millions of people around the world. And you think you can talk to me like this on your little daytime show? Jennifer crossed her arms, her voice growing stronger. This little daytime show has heart, it has soul, and it has respect for people, which is clearly something you've forgotten about. You can name drop Oprah all you want, but that doesn't give you the right to treat people badly. Meghan's face turned red, her jaw clenched. How dare you? How dare you speak to me that way? Do you know who I am? Jennifer didn't back down, not even an inch. Yes, I know exactly who you are. And right now, you're a guest on my show who's acting entitled and disrespectful, and I won't tolerate it. The studio erupted. The audience started clapping, slow at first, then building into thunderous applause. They were clapping for Jennifer, supporting her, standing with her. Meghan looked around, her eyes wide with shock. She clearly didn't expect this reaction. She expected everyone to side with her, to feel sorry for her, to bow down to her. You're all clapping for her? Really? After everything I've been through? After all the pain and suffering? This is what I get? Meghan shouted over the applause. Jennifer walked closer to Meghan, her voice calm but firm. Meghan, I think it's time for you to leave. This interview is over. Meghan's mouth dropped open. You're kicking me off? You're kicking me off your show? Yes, I am, because this isn't what my show is about. We don't treat people this way here. Not my crew, not my audience, and not me. So yes, you need to leave, Jennifer said with absolute certainty. Meghan looked like she'd been slapped. She stood there for a moment, frozen, clearly trying to process what was happening. Then she spun around and pointed at the cameras. Turn those off. Turn those cameras off right now. You can't air this. I won't allow it. But the cameras kept rolling. The crew kept filming. Because this was real. This was happening. Jennifer gestured toward the exit. Meghan, please, just go. Meghan's face twisted with rage. She looked at Jennifer one last time, her voice shaking with anger. "You have no idea what you've just done. No idea. You'll regret this. Your show will pay for this. I will make sure everyone knows how I was treated here today." Jennifer didn't flinch. She stood her ground, her voice steady. "I think the footage will speak for itself." Meghan grabbed her purse tighter, turned on her heel, and stormed off the stage. Her heels clicked loudly against the floor, echoing through the silent studio. Every single person watched her leave. Some audience members were crying, others were still clapping. A few were just sitting there in complete shock, unable to believe what they'd just witnessed. As Meghan reached the exit, she turned around one more time, her voice cutting through the air. "This isn't over, Jennifer, not by a long shot." Then she disappeared through the door, gone. The studio remained silent for a few seconds. Jennifer stood there, taking a deep breath, her hands shaking slightly. Then she turned to face the audience, her eyes glistening with tears, but her head held high. "I am so sorry you all had to witness that," Jennifer said, her voice thick with emotion. "That's not what we're about here. That's not the energy we bring to this space. We're about love, respect, and lifting each other up, and I will always stand by those values, no matter who walks through that door." The audience exploded into applause again. People stood up, they cheered, they shouted words of encouragement. Some were chanting Jennifer's name. The love and support in that room was overwhelming. Jennifer wiped her eyes and laughed through her tears. "You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much." We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue with the show because that's what we do. We keep going. We keep spreading love, okay? The audience cheered even louder. As the show cut to commercial, Jennifer's team rushed onto the stage to check on her. Her producer hugged her tight. The crew gave her thumbs up and words of support. Everyone in that building knew they'd just witnessed something extraordinary. Jennifer Hudson, one of the kindest people in entertainment, had stood up for herself and her team against someone who thought they were untouchable. When the camera started rolling again after the break, Jennifer was back in her chair, composed and smiling. She didn't mention what had just happened. She didn't dwell on it. She simply moved forward with grace and professionalism, welcoming her next guest with the same warmth and respect she showed everyone. But backstage, the story was far from over. Security had to escort Meghan out of the building because she was causing a scene in the hallway. She was yelling at producers, demanding to speak to executives, threatening legal action. She insisted that the footage be destroyed, that the segment never air, that everyone sign non-disclosure agreements. The production team refused. They had every right to air what happened. It was real, it was authentic, and most importantly, it showed the truth. Meghan's assistants tried to calm her down, but she was beyond reasoning with. She paced back and forth in the parking lot, making phone calls, texting frantically, trying to control the narrative before it got out. Meanwhile, inside the studio, audience members were already posting about what they'd seen. The videos started spreading online within minutes. Clips of Meghan's outburst, Jennifer's powerful response, and that final moment when Meghan stormed off the stage. It was everywhere. Twitter exploded, Instagram was flooded, TikTok was on fire with reactions. People couldn't believe it. Comments poured in from all over the world. Thousands of people praising Jennifer for standing her ground, for not allowing herself to be disrespected in her own house, for showing that kindness doesn't mean being a doormat. Jennifer Hudson is a queen for this. One person wrote, "The way she handled that with grace and strength, respect," another commented. Meghan really thought she could talk to Jennifer like that on her own show? The audacity, someone else posted. The support for Jennifer was overwhelming. People who had never watched her show before were suddenly tuning in. They wanted to see more of this woman who stood up for herself with such dignity. Who didn't back down when faced with someone acting entitled and cruel? Back in the studio, Jennifer continued with the rest of her show like the professional she was. She interviewed her remaining guests with the same energy and enthusiasm she always brought. She laughed, she asked thoughtful questions, she made everyone feel special. Because that's who Jennifer Hudson is. That's what she does. When the show finally wrapped, the crew gathered around Jennifer for a group hug. There were tears, laughter, and an overwhelming sense of pride. They'd all witnessed their host stand up for them, protect them, defend them, and they loved her even more for it. Jennifer addressed her team, her voice filled with emotion. "I want you all to know something. This is our house. This is our space. And nobody, I don't care who they are or what title they have, nobody gets to come in here and disrespect us. We work too hard. We care too much, and we deserve better than that." The room erupted in applause once again. Her team cheered and whistled, showing their support and appreciation for their leader. As Jennifer left the studio that evening, she felt a mix of emotions. She was hurt by how the interview had gone, disappointed that it had ended that way. But she was also proud that she'd stood her ground, proud that she'd shown her audience, her team, and herself that she wouldn't be walked over. The footage from the interview aired later that week. The network didn't cut anything. They showed the entire confrontation from start to finish, and the reaction was massive. Millions of people watched. The episode became the most viewed in the show's history. Think pieces were written. Talk shows discussed it. Even other celebrities weighed in, most of them supporting Jennifer's decision to stand up for herself and her team. "You can't treat people like that and expect no consequences," one famous actress tweeted. "Jennifer Hudson showed us all what real strength looks like," a popular singer posted. The incident became a defining moment, not just for the show, but for the entire conversation around respect, boundaries, and how we treat others. It sparked discussions about entitlement, about the difference between confidence and arrogance, about standing up for yourself even when it's difficult. Jennifer never spoke badly about Meghan after the incident. When asked about it in interviews, she simply said that it was an unfortunate situation, but that she had to do what was right for her show and her team. She took the high road, never stooping to insults or petty comments. She simply moved forward, continuing to spread love and positivity through her platform. And that, more than anything, showed the world who the real class act was in this situation. Because anyone can lash out when they're hurt or angry. Anyone can throw insults or play the victim. But it takes real strength, real character, to stand up for yourself while still maintaining your dignity and grace. Jennifer Hudson proved that day that kindness doesn't equal weakness. That being warm and welcoming doesn't mean you'll accept disrespect. That you can be both compassionate and strong, both loving and firm. The audience that witnessed the confrontation never forgot it. Many of them became regular viewers of the show, drawn to Jennifer's authenticity and strength. They appreciated seeing someone in Hollywood who kept it real, who didn't pretend everything was perfect, who showed that even in difficult moments, you can handle yourself with class. The entire incident became a masterclass in how to handle conflict with grace. Jennifer didn't yell, she didn't curse, she didn't lose control. She simply stated her boundaries, stood by her values, and removed herself from a toxic situation. And in doing so, she earned the respect of millions. That moment, when Jennifer told Meghan to leave, when she stood there firm and unwavering, became iconic. It was played and replayed countless times. It was turned into memes, reaction videos, motivational posts. People saw it as a symbol of standing up for yourself, of not letting anyone dim your light. And through it all, Jennifer remained humble. She didn't gloat about the attention. She didn't use the incident to boost her own image. She simply continued being herself, genuine, kind, and strong, showing up every day to do what she loved, talking to interesting people, and spreading joy through her platform. The lesson from that day was clear. You can demand respect without being disrespectful. You can set boundaries without being cruel. You can stand up for yourself while still maintaining your integrity. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply say no, this isn't acceptable, and walk away from toxicity. Jennifer Hudson taught millions of people that lesson in just one unforgettable afternoon. And for that, she became more than just a talk show host. She became a symbol of strength, grace, and self-respect in an industry that often demands you compromise those things for fame and attention. The cameras captured it all. The tension, the confrontation, the explosive exit, the powerful aftermath. And every second of it reminded viewers that at the end of the day, respect matters. How you treat people matters. And no amount of fame, status, or royal connections gives you the right to treat others as beneath you. Jennifer stood tall that day. She stood up for herself, her team, and everyone who's ever been treated poorly by someone who thought they were too important to show basic human decency. And in that moment, she showed the world exactly what a real queen looks like.